Okay, this is lesson 3.6. We're going to talk about transformations. We're going to talk about how linear equations move. All right, first we're going to do the warm-ups. What type of line has a zero slope? No, horizontal. A horizontal line, there's your X, or your Y, there's your x-axis. A horizontal line crosses the y-axis anywhere, and it is horizontal, like the horizon. See? There's the sun rising over the horizon. Oh, no. The sun has a smiley face with some claws that he's looking over the horizon with. Okay. Evaluate the function when x equals -1. So I rewrite this. F of x equals, and I know you guys don't like to rewrite things, but you need to, -5 times -1 minus 3. F of x equals 5 minus 3. F of x equals 2. Now, some teachers, and I don't want to throw too much at you at once, but some teachers will write f of -1. That lets you know that you're putting -1 in for x. Okay, so what type of line has an undefined slope, Kofi? What type of line has an undefined slope? Vertical. Okay, an undefined slope is a vertical line. An undefined slope looks something like this. 3/0. In your calculator, make a fraction and put 0 on bottom. Tell me what it tells you. Yeah, it tells you math error. Why? Because it's undefined. This equals undefined, and it equals a vertical line. So again, here is my y and my x-axis. A vertical line intersects the y-axis like that. That's a very crooked vertical line. All right? Okay, some transformations shift the function up and down. The slope of these functions stays the same, but the y-intercept changes. The original line and its transformation will be parallel. Yada, yada, yada. So all we're going to do is we are going to shift the y-intercept. So here it is, +2. Go ahead and graph this. Up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. Then I connect. I'm going to try to connect this nice and straight. There we go. Make your arrows. There you go. Okay. Now, we're going to graph number 2. We go to -1. I'll make this one red. We go to -1, put a dot. Up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. Then I get my line. There we go. Make my arrows. And these are my 2 lines that I just graphed. Okay. So describe how the functions changed from f of x, right here, f of x, to g of x. How did the functions change, kids? How did it change? No, they're both positive. They both have positive slopes. How have they changed? How have these 2 changed? What's that? I can't hear you. Yes, excellent. Yep. See, if I can move this, let me see if I can. Ugh. I can't really move it, but that's okay because of the dots. But this one is at -1, so this one is right here. The red one is here at -1. The blue one is at +2. So f of x, and this is what you would say on a test if they asked you this, f of x, 1, 2, 3. F of x shifted down 3. All right? If g of x, now this gets a little tough. If g of x equals f of x plus k, what is the value of k? So g of x, this one right here is g of x. So if I want to make g of x equal to f of x, what do I have to add to it? What do I have to add to g of x to make it equal to f of x? 1, 2, 3. I have to go +3. You get them? So k equals 3. All right? That's all we're doing. That's how we transformed it. We're going to shift it up and down the y-axis. Okay, so you go ahead and do number 5, then start the video when you get it done. Okay, so on this one, h of x equals f of x minus 4. So h of x equals, well, f of x is back here. F of x is 1/2 x plus 2. So I'm just going to write 1/2 x plus 2, and then they want a -4 from that. -4. So what does h of x equal, guys? Hello? What does it equal? 1/2 x. 1/2 x what? No, because it's +2 minus 4. What's 2 minus 4? It's -2. See, I cannot combine 1/2 x with -4. How come? How come I can't add 1/2 x minus 4? How come I can't add those? Because they don't both have the x. So the only thing I can combine is +2 minus 4. 2 minus 4 is -2. So then I graph h of x. I go to -2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. Then I connect this as straight as possible, and I'll label it h of x. Okay, we're going to skip number 11. F of x equals x plus 1 is graphed below. So that's right here. A new function that shows f of x shifted up 3, graph a new function that shows it shifted up 3, and label it g of x. So f of x, what's my slope for f of x? Okay, so my slope is 1 over 1. So if I'm going to shift this up 3, I'm going to go right here to the y-axis. I'm going to go 1, I'm going to go 2, I'm going to go 3, and I'm going to put my dot right here. Now my slope is 1 over 1, 1 over 1, and I draw my line, and I label it what? G of x. That's it. That's all we're doing. Same. Okay, so go ahead and graph both of these. Okay, so 2x plus 3 is graphed here in blue. 4x plus 6 is graphed here on red. I wanted to graph them on the same one. So they don't have the same slope. Some people in class were getting confused. They thought they should be parallel. They're only parallel if they have the same slopes, okay? It's okay. It's easy to forget that, kids. So that's why these are not parallel. Now, describe what you multiply both the slope and the y-intercept of f of x to get g of x. What am I going to multiply to f of x so that it equals g of x? What do I multiply them by? I multiply it by 2, yes. Because if I come up here and I multiply this whole thing by 2, I'm going to get f of x equals 4x plus 6. It's the exact same thing. So you multiply it by 2. G of x equals k times f of x. What's the value of k? What's the value of k, kids? K equals 3. G of x equals something k times f of x. Isn't that what it says? K times f of x. What did I multiply this by? 2. So why would I multiply it by 3? K equals 2. Okay, so now I'm going to multiply f of x by -1. That's what this says. See here, f of x. So I go back. Here's f of x. So f of x is 2x plus 3. So I have -1 times 2x plus 3, and this is going to equal h of x. So h of x equals -2x minus 3, and then I can graph that. All right, if you have any questions, please feel free to come in. Love you. Have a nice day. And everybody said, bye-bye.